Welcome to the conversation. The demo of My Friendly Neighborhood was finally released. The puzzles were fun, the gameplay rather smooth, and the voice acting was great. There were some things that need to be tweaked, but overall, a fun free demo. And like any good lore hunter, I went through and found some bits of story hidden throughout the studio that led me to some theories and questions. Let's dive into the demo and see what we can pull out of it, starting with the facts. Before we start, just want to put in a spoiler alert. This video will cover facts and lore from the public demo, so some secrets or surprises may be spoiled. You've been warned. The facts. The game takes place at MFN Studios, a public television studio. The studio is closed down at the point of the game, but it's unclear how long it has been shut down for. My guess is the studio was closed down or ran shows in the 90s based on some of the artwork for shows on the walls. The studio was, at one point in time, fairly successful, but was possibly set in a bad neighborhood. An employee mentions not feeling safe at work and wants to be escorted to her car when she leaves. Along with the current layout, there were plans to expand by adding in a lower studio. Anytime you go down in a building is just a bad sign. Something ain't right in this studio. The place was also pretty unsafe. There were warning signs depicting puppets getting hurt, but doesn't serve as a reminder to wear your hard hat or something. Just a cute, uh-oh, don't get hurt. There is also mentions of NDAs in the studio rules to make sure no legal action can be taken against them. The studio ran many different shows, including My Friendly Neighborhood, Ricky with Friends, Puppets Pirate Cove, The Shadow Sapphire, Wubump Caverns, and Cardboard Penthouse. But it's unclear if they were still on the air. We see references to a few other characters in the demo as well. There's Gordon, the main character and handyman of the studio, along with a list of other employees: Al, Hank, Frank, Benny, and Julia. A man named Mr. Gerswald is also mentioned, and could be the man in charge of the studio, or is in a role of authority, as Julia seems to imply that she works for him. His secretary, perhaps? Other than that, there isn't much else about the human characters in the demo. And we couldn't go forward with this video without referencing the puppets, or neighbors as they're called in the posters. There's Norman, one of the most recognizable, who wears a school-style jacket and jeans. There's Junebug, a yellow puppet with green hair wearing a purple dress, and a pink puppet with yellowish green hair. I couldn't find a name for him or her, so if anyone knows their name, let me know in the comments below. There's also Ricky the sock puppet and guide in the demo, and Ray the fix-it guy who stalks us through the pipes. That covers it for most of the big facts that we know about the studio so far. Now, let's talk theory. Theory number 1. The puppets are sentient, meaning the puppets think, feel, and create their own understanding of the world around them. Though it's very unclear what's inside the puppets, if they're more like robots and how advanced their programming is, I think there is plenty pointing to them being alive in a sense. Through their conversations, we hear about eating, what their favorite things are, and what they like to do. They also shout when you hit them with the letters from your gun, indicating some way to tell pain. On the tech poster outside Ray's stage, we see references to the neighbors playing and altering presets on the soundboard. We also see reference to what knots to use when rigging up ropes, as the puppets haven't figured those out yet. On the studio rules poster, we see mention that they can pick up new words, so no swearing is allowed near the puppets as well. This shows a level of autonomy and intelligence beyond the traditional idea of a puppet. One could say that it could be just advanced programming, if they're robots, but why not just power them down or reprogram them to not be a pain in the you-know-what? I think they can't control the puppets, and even more, the puppets are unhappy. On the rules poster, there is mention to not let children around the puppets, if there are no handlers around. A precaution probably put in place when one of the puppets hurt a child that was visiting. Another reason I think they're alive but confused or angry is how they talk to themselves. Why, just listen to any of their monologues before shooting them with letters, and you'll hear them ramble about some very dark subjects. For example,
My favorite new pair of socks? I got it in the mail. A letter from a dear old friend. I got it in the mail. An assortment of the best bugs the world has to offer. Well, that one just appears in my house. mashed skunk cabbage in the mail. My neighbors stuffed into a box and shipped to my house in the mail. The stockpile of greasy hamburgers that I cooked at my vacation home. Come on, say it with me. It came from Florida in the mail.
It starts off as something you might hear on Sesame Street, but gets darker and darker until in the end, it's rather uncomfortable to think about. In the locker room, there's also a poster with Ray drawn on it and many corrections scribbled on it. If you read down far enough, you see two suspicious lines. Here, you see the words, "I want to go home." And here, we see, "The light is leaving all of us." I think this is a message from the puppets that have a human-like brain and reaching out to tell us there is something going on here. There is also another conversation I overheard a puppet having.
Sometimes we would swap our arms, then we would swap our legs. One by one, each piece was swapped, then we were back to normal. That's what friends are for. They give you new fingers to use.
Could this be how they change humans into puppets, one piece at a time? My conclusion? It's people. It's always people. I believe that the puppets were once human or have some connections to souls or something. Kind of cliche for this genre, but I mean, it's always people. The last thing I will bring up for this theory is that whatever caused these puppets to act like this, it's happened to a lot of people.
Go ahead! You have no idea how many friends are in here.
Norman wants to be let out, and there's so many friends inside the TV. I think this is him telling the listener or viewer that this has happened to a lot of people. But how did this happen? This leads me to my second theory. Theory number 2. The signal being broadcasted is the cause. This one doesn't have as much proof as my first theory, but hear me out. I think that the cause of people becoming puppets, thinking like they do, or acting like they do, is caused by the broadcast signal itself. My first bit of proof is right at the beginning of the demo. Ricky talks to us and tries to convince Gordon not to go to the antennae on the roof.
Dear oh my, you seem to be stranded in the basement.
How do I get out of here, Ricky?
Oh, haven't a clue. Never come down here myself. Why? What's got your overalls in a knot?
I'm trying to get to the roof.
The roof? Look, you gotta give up this nonsense about the antenna. Looks very bad, very unprofessional.
It's my job.
Now, why would Ricky not want us to fix or do something to the antennae? Either Ricky doesn't want the signal to stop and Gordon making it to the roof would shut the signal down, or Gordon is being paid by the company to fix the antennae, and Ricky and the other puppets don't want others to turn into them or be brainwashed by the signal. I know what you might be thinking. That's a stretch. What other proof do you got? Well, not too much if I'm being honest. There is mention that the cables on the ground are dangerous, but not as a tripping hazard. Standing on them for a long period of time can lead to long-lasting damage. Perhaps the broadcast running through the cables could seep through and into a person that way as well? The poster for MFN is also kind of strange. Zip zap, here comes the signals. Joy televised from MFN. Sure, this could just be some clever advertising since MFN broadcasts kids shows, but maybe there's something more sinister in the signal. I mean, Joy televised gives me brainwashing vibes, right? Like they're going to force viewers to be happy one way or another. My last bit of proof for this one is the other half of this conversation that I heard deep in the studio.
But here, I'll tell you what. How about you give me some of that cereal in your bowl right now? How? Oh, just get me out of here! That's right, grab your dad's toolbox, take the hammer, and correct that TV screen right open!
The puppet directing kids to break into the TV shows a direct connection between the TV signal and the real world, kind of blurring the lines between them, and asking the kid to break down that barrier. I don't know, just something suspicious about that signal. And there we have it. That's my facts and theories from the demo of My Friendly Neighborhood. I'm interested to see where this story goes from here. I really liked the puzzles in the game, and the hidden lore was fun to dig into. I feel that this one was far less scary than other games in the genre, so it may not be the best for everyone, but hey, the demo's free, so if you like games like this, go check it out. And don't forget to leave your own theories in the comments below. I would love to read what you think is going on in the studio, or leave a review of what you thought of the demo. Thanks for watching this video. If you like it, why not give it a like? And if you want to see more about My Friendly Neighborhood lore when it comes out, why not subscribe to the channel so you can see when I post more? Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.